Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a great weekend. I can definitely say that mine has been restful, really excited, especially because this is the last weekend before the Thanksgiving holiday. And I thought because Thanksgiving is a special holiday, I would post a special blog posting that would have a special video inside of it. So I thought it might be most helpful. Thus the title of the post, being 3 ways to not be tricked by all of the treats that are really at every direction during this holiday season. Certainly, that's a play off of October 31st and it being Halloween, and from that point on, there's all types of goodies in every direction. And certainly, I wanted to help equip everyone so they can go into this time of year controlling the food and not being controlled by the food, and thus on coming out of 2015, not in a state of lamenting, but hopeful as they head into the new year. I was at a dinner last night, which is the second Thanksgiving themed dinner that I've participated at for work. And one of my coworkers made a comment at the beginning of our time in addressing the whole group that everyone is going to gain weight over these next several weeks. And I thought, why does that actually have to be the case? I mean, that's probably a common thought. We're, as a whole, resigned to the fact that we are not going to be able to control ourselves and we're going to mindlessly gorge ourselves at any given time with any given plate of food that will cross our path. And so I thought, hey, let's enjoy this time of year where there's all of this food around, but not go out of the year with guilt and shame, which isn't a good way to start things off. So, the first way and the first state of being that I recommend is to be green. Not to be green with envy, because we don't want to do that, but to have a green plate, so to speak. More of a green plate, rather. So, last night, for example, before I loaded my plate up with all the good stuff, I also started off with some good stuff that was green. My green food last night was salad. There were some other green foods were there, but I felt like having salad for this particular meal. And then I filled my plate up with the rest of the typical Thanksgiving goodies that were there. And so this is something that I like to apply regularly to myself and something that I recommend to my individual clients as well as my group clients and talk about in webinars, teleclasses, and workshops that I conduct with people. Is a matter of starting out with adding more of what we need rather than thinking about all the different things that we can't eat and can't have for the rest of our existence, which really in a lot of our minds is equivalent to weeping and gnashing of teeth. And so you consider it actually doesn't have to be that way, and that actually sets us up for failure. Like, who is able to operate under that type of governing thought? So rather than thinking about what one can't have, starting to add more and more of what's good for us into our meals. And actually, this way of eating has a way of crowding out, if you will, the different types of foods that we don't need so much of, and actually starts to remedy that situation, especially if we're addicted to certain types of foods. The second way of being is to be present. For most of us, our daily way of living and operating is go, 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 and more go. Many times into a state of burnout, if not near burnout. And many times we carry this way of living over into the holidays where it should be a time of joy and some relaxation, but rather because of all the gatherings and the list of things to do and the preparation, we're still going, going, going. So a way of being present is being there in each interaction, in each task, not thinking about what one needs to take care of coming up, but just about being present. So in the greeting of different guests, family members, and friends, just being with that one person in that simple interaction, even if it's just a greeting. So I know that's hard because we're always on the go. It's hard if somebody's talking for more than about 7 seconds for us to focus, but to just be present. So even if it's not a lengthy interaction, to just be there with that person. to just be there in that task. And one thing that helps us many times is to step away from all of the activity, even for a few minutes. So, for example, I know during family gatherings, I usually need to take a walk down the block with my hot beverage for 5 or 10 minutes and then come back inside. That's a way really of gaining some composure, especially if you've realized you've lost a little bit of it through all of the activity, and then can go back in. I like to think of it as a sharpening of the saw, if you will, which Stephen Covey, who's an author, talks about in a lot of his books, really concerning managing our time and our energy. And so basically many times what we're used to doing is sawing, so to speak, in our daily living without taking breaks to sharpen it, to take care of ourselves. So that way when we go back to tasks, rather than just continuing to go with the dull saw, we can actually come back with a sharpened saw. Really, that's what taking care of ourselves will do for us. And then thirdly, the last state of being is to be active. I know usually that during a break, we don't want to think about being active. We want to eat all of our goodies. We want to take a nap. We want to watch basketball. We want to watch football. And we want to get ready to run some folks down for Black Friday. So by all means, but actually it's good to incorporate some activity into that as well. So for another example, my family and I usually will pull out the Wii video game console and we'll actually take turns playing games on that. So it's a lot of fun, but we're also incorporating some activity into it. So think about what would be an incorporating of activity that wouldn't be cumbersome, but that would be fun for you. Maybe it's an extended walk of what I mentioned in the second B. It's really up to you and those that you're with if you're spending the holiday with someone. So I actually would love to hear what other things that you incorporate into your this time of year, whether it's how to be more present, maybe what ways you plan to be present if you haven't practiced this. I'd love to hear what other things you'd recommend as well. I hope you find this blog post and video most helpful. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy your holiday week, and happy Thanksgiving.